Well, we gonna get into it then. We are gonna get into it. Let me give them a little countdown because that's what I do. We're live right now, but I'm gonna do this because I like to do this right here. And give me 2 seconds. And thank you guys for joining us. We are in the zone. We are in, let me bring my light up here. We are in the infinite zone right now. I gotta straighten, there we go. There we go. We are in the infinite zone right now. I got my guy. Okay, all right. Yeah, we got a new brother on the stream, all the way from Ireland, chopping it up with the beautiful infinite creators. It should be exciting. I gotta turn my volume down a little bit because I'm a little hot in the building. Yeah. So basically we have my guy all the way from Ireland. Have control. That's what he goes by. Have control. He wrote a Reddit post. He talks a lot about the artist XXX Tentacion. So shouts out to Conor McGregor. That's what my guy Fazan saying. Shouts out to Conor McGregor. You know, he does it big in Ireland. But yeah, have control. Introduce us. Tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit. First things first, this is your first time to the channel. You haven't been here before. I gotta salute you. I salute the divinity in you. I respect the divinity in you. Thank you for rocking with me. Definitely thank you for rocking with me. So take us on your early journey. Take us on your path. Tell us who you are. Tell us where you're from. Shed a little light on yourself for us.
Well, I would say have control.
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can't hear. Hold on a second. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
I got you. My bad. Sorry about that, beautiful infinite creators. All right, so talk to me. Let me know. Tell us who you are, where you from. Take us to the start. What's going on, Typical? What's up, Motivation in the Mind? We've got England in the building. We've got some people in the building. We've got Canada in the building. But yeah, take us on your journey. Tell us what brings you to the channel.
So basically, I'll just start off like from in a way the beginning. I'm a fan of hip hop. Like I've always been, like even when I was like a kid, like with Biggie, like the way he used to rap about like Timberland boots, and I had Timberland boots. And in Ireland, that's not a big thing in Ireland, so I kind of always connected with hip hop in a way. And of course, like I kind of like got for me like the moment where, you know, I feel like, you know, young people have this moment where like the music connects with them the most. When I found X, that's when it really hit me. And I remember I'd seen that he was, one of the things that made me realize there was something different about him was when he did a live stream and he said, I have a tattoo saying numb, and it's because I was going through a time in my life where I couldn't feel things. And I realized that this guy kind of gets what I'm going through, and I connected with him. And he kind of always said, follow your dreams. So like I always knew I wanted to be a part of hip hop somehow, like just, you know, documenting the culture, just listening to like just any way possible. I always wanted to be. So I started fulfilling that dream, and Have Control is that dream.
So Have Control, this is your name, or this is your brand? This is your alter ego? Talk to me about Have Control a little bit.
Well, it kind of like it kind of half fell into place accidentally the way it is. See, like the Have Control is like spelled the way you would normally spell it, like have CONTROL. And when I tried to make that Instagram, I did, but then I was having an issue with it, and then was thinking, oh, I have to change it to something else. And then I realized like CTRL on a keyboard, and I went Have Control, and Have Control. And then I realized this is it. This is who I am. And like Have Control means like I want you to know you have control over your life. you have a lot more control than you think you do. And based on all the books, all the research I've done into meditation and just stuff that X taught, I realized you do have a lot more control over your life than you think. And for me, I say I have control. I give myself control, and then I want you to say it because you have control.
Okay, so you talk about having control, and this came into your awareness. Was this because of X, or was this just the journey that you were on, or this was just, it was just one of the pieces to the puzzle?
Um, I would say like definitely X was the fuel under the fire, but like how I became who I am is based on all a history, like a long history. Like I was in like I was homeless when I was a kid, um like for a few years with my mom, and I was in foster homes. Like I lost my family, I did, and I didn't get have that kind of connection. And well, what basically when I was going through education, I didn't have any guidance, enough clear guidance, and I didn't know what was important. And one of the things that really got to me was I felt like I didn't know things growing up that were meant that I should have known. And from the ages of 17 to I guess up to now, I pushed myself as hard as I could to know the truth about anything. Like I just wanted to know that I knew the truth about things, that didn't believe things that were a lie. Like the worst thing is like going out there and believing something about life that isn't true. So I pushed myself to make sure I knew what was important in life.
Sweet, sweet. So you talk a little bit about your early days being homeless with your mother. Was you grew up in a single parent home? Did you have both of your parents? Are they siblings? What are some of the things that motivate you? What are some of the things that cause you to question and challenge your thinking?
Well, this is kind of silly. Like it's one of the things that really pushed me was like when I was in college. Like this just shows how on what level of what I was used to in my home. Like in Ireland, social welfare, like how you get when you get paid when you have no job, that's called the dole. And when I was in college, they asked me what did I want to do, and I said that, and everyone laughed because they thought I was joking. But that's so I was used to. My mom, my my mom was on the dole, my dad was on the dole, my uncles were on the dole. I didn't know a person who had a job. Like so, I just thought, oh, you could survive, you could you could live on that wage, but just because of where I came from, that's what I was used to, and I realized that what do I not know? What do I not know? And like, how can I get out of this? I don't want to live like this life that like my family lived. Like, I mean, I went through it, and I just wanted to move forward in life. I just wanted to have a stable family and a stable job and a stable career. And, basically then pass that on to the next generation for myself. And then I felt like there's so many people who are going through that as well, and there's in different ways, and I just want them to know so they can move forward and get into the right place.
So what was the wake up call? Clearly there was a wake up call. You had a moment. Was there a aha moment? Did you have an epiphany? What was it?
I used to walk. I would say that it was not a one moment, a fast track moment. I felt like it was a slow burning moment. Like I used to go into town when I realized that I wasn't doing things the way I wanted to. I used to go into town, and I used to just walk through the city just by myself alone for hours thinking about life, and just I would just listen to audiobooks and just think about things and just try to feel out life, until I realized I need to start making something, you know.
I got you. I dig. So you're growing up, and talk to us about where you're from. Talk to us about Ireland. Give us the lay of the land. You got beautiful infinite creators from all over the world who want to know what it's like in Ireland. I know we're going through some tumultuous times in the world. We're dealing with the pandemic. We're dealing with COVID. We're dealing with a plethora of issues today. Talk to us about how it is in Ireland.
Um, well, like just I would feel like that Ireland kind of has this, we can have a strong sense of community. We can, and it depends on where you come from. Like, where everyone's like proud to be Irish, and that's just a thing. And I feel that one of the most interesting things, like, is like everyone kind of like you could go to anywhere in Ireland and you all have kind of common things like your mom's dinner or something like that. Like they would have an Irish stew, which is kind of like a soup, but like a vegetable soup, and like your mom would have one way of doing it, and another man would have another way of doing it. But it's still there's just this way that in Ireland that it's built, and I like, with the weather and stuff, like it's rare when we get a nice weather. So when it hits us, we really appreciate it. Like Ireland just had like 2 weeks of heat wave, and like we're not gonna see that again till like maybe next year.
Who are some of the people that made an impact in your life? Some of the people who maybe inspired you or challenged the thinking and challenged the status quo. What made you think?
That's a good question. My friend, I have a friend named Mikey. He's a very inspiring person. He does MMA, and when we are growing up, like he always pushed us to do things. Like if we were just sitting around doing nothing, he would say, "Come on, let's go do this thing." And even if it's difficult, he would say, "Lads, when we're older, we're gonna look back and we're gonna think good on these memories. We're gonna have fun memories to look on. If we're just sitting around doing nothing, what are we gonna think back on?" And I thought, I believed in him then, and now, I get so nostalgic about all the good memories we had. Like, and to be honest, if it wasn't for him doing that, I wouldn't have had such a fun childhood, and just growing up having basically like he kind of managed to give you like that coming of age feeling like you would in a movie. That's kind of like what it felt like for me, the way he was like. And even though he's younger than me, I felt inspired by him, and I could look up to him.
Shouts out to Mikey. Give it up to Mikey. Mikey showed you some love there, and he challenged the status quo. You know, and I remember hearing X talk about it's your memories that hold you back. The way you move forward is you got to get past those memories. But if you don't get past those memories, you would stay stuck per se. What advice you would give the beautiful infinite creators on how to motivate themselves, be more productive in their lives? What have you learned along your journey so far?
um I would say kind of what you surround yourself with is what you'll become. Like if you like example, like if you're like I had friends who like smoked cigarettes, smoked other stuff. Basically, when I was around them, I would smoke as well. But when I was around like my mate Mikey, he just we didn't. He just went on runs. He made good food, and like he would do MMA sparring with me, and I would learn that. And I realized I'm becoming that kind of a person because I'm being around this kind of energy. But when I was around people who are smoking, drinking, that's what I became. And like, it doesn't have to be as deep as that. Like, if you just put the healthy food in your fridge, you don't have the junk in your fridge. You're not going to eat that because it's just not there. It's what you surround yourself with, and it's not you're not an effect of life. You are also a creator in life, and you can create the life you want if you surround yourself with that energy.
I agree, and I salute that. You talk about energy and surrounding yourself around the right influence or the right people or the right persons, which is definitely another thing that's key. It's definitely key. But when you speak about energy, right? When did you realize that this energy had an effect on you?
Um, just like um, I think the way when I realized it was just I don't I see it in like two ways. I see it as the like kind of like a what's the word when you're kind of like when you're someone who's cynical, like, or like you kind of, you're not like, you're not, if you're not into spiritual stuff, you can take it as a way where you're like, oh yeah, I believe this in a way that's rational. Like if you think it rationally, it makes sense. If you surround yourself with good food and that's, you eat right, you can see it as a easy, like a normal thing. Like, oh, that's not spiritual, that's not like higher power things. You can see it in a rational way. But if you are into like spiritual stuff, you can see it as like what you're, the energy you're attracting, you know. So you can look at it in two ways. And I think that's when I realized it was having an effect, you know, like when I could see it in a rational way plus in a higher power way, if there was.
So your mind is but a magnet for what you want to attract.
Yeah.
All right. So you fight MMA fight.
Well, I don't, but like I like I do. I am into it, and I do, like, I have the gloves and stuff, and I just do it by myself, like, you know, like
Mhm,
because of COVID, like the, and because of where I was living at the time, there was no one to train with, so I was just doing shadow boxing by myself.
mhm. So do you see this as something that you would pursue, or you just see it as keeping something to keep you physically in shape?
Um, I see myself as the kind of person who has too many different interests to ever get stuck in one. Like, I'm into so many different things, like Rubik's cubes, BMX and skateboarding, like obviously MMA. I like art. I like to make music. Um, I'm just into documenting hip hop culture. I play guitar. I do investing in stocks and cryptocurrency. I'm also into like every music genre there is, like, so like I never get sucked into anything too strongly.
So if there was one thing that you could pick, right? If there was one thing that you can do all day, just one thing, what would it be?
I would say it would be hip hop.
Oh, you produce
Just
music, you write music, you rap. Talk to me.
I would not, like, I mean, like, just talking about it. Like if I could like be on a podcast or, you know, just doing interviews, like I would want to keep myself in it. If I could just document what's going on around it, you know, and just creating the best footage or capturing the most unique, you know, moments of it, like, and catching history. That's what I would want to be a part of.
Who's your favorite hip hop artist?
X.
X. And why? Tell me why. Because the X is my favorite, but I want to know why X is your favorite.
Well, if you take out the side of like, I won't speak about it on the side of how he emotionally, how much it affected me, his music, but if you just take it from a musical standpoint, he is not just a hip hop artist. I would say, you know, he did multiple genres, you know, like hip hop, you know, like boom bap rap. Like he, like Riot is like a boom bap rap, and Rare Part Two is boom bap. But then he would like mix melodic, you know, R&B sounds, and even if you look at Garrett's Revenge, that's almost like a country kind of a sound. And there's a song by with him and Craig Zahn that's literally, it's death metal. It's like heavy metal, and obviously he's inspired by heavy metal. So like his versatility is like, though I feel like he's the one of the only artists had such a wide range of versatility. Like like if you take it, like if you take his heavy aggressive sound, there's artists like Scarlord, but Scarlord doesn't do the soft stuff. And then if you look at a soft artist like Drake or something, that with the R&B, X is able to do that, and he's able to do what Scarlett does, but he can do both. Like, so I think his versatility, and you can really feel the emotion in his music. Like, I feel like he's one of the artists who speaks so real in his music. And that's why I think so. He's one of the greatest artists of all time.
Yeah. So you speak about the versatility of this artist and this young man. I love the versatility. That was something that drew me to him. But um, when you add the message, when you add the message along with what he was doing, I think it's uncomparable. I don't think there's an artist who's put it on the line. I mean, I think Tupac politically has put it on the line.
Yeah.
Politically, he put it on the line. but the message, X literally trying to wake some people up to what's going on around them. I think he pales comparison. You can't even compare anybody with him.
Uh,
Who's some of your heroes or celebrities, like historically, such as Steve Jobs or Alexander the Great? Who are some of the figures from history that you like and that you research or you're into?
I'll name two. I don't know if like famous on the level is what if they're famous enough on the level you would expect, but there's a stand-up comedian named George Carlin, and George Carlin, like he he initially started off like as a stand-up comedian who made like comedy for the boomers. Like it was very, PC, kind of with going with along with the program with TVs, making sure all the money men are all happy. But then in the later later years of his career, he decided that he wants to speak on some real stuff, and then he started criticizing the government. He started criticizing the problems that they did, but he did it in a way that was funny. But it was like if you listen to him, it's like you can laugh along because you know what he's saying is so true. His like he's able to put his like political views into like stand-up comedy, and like he really didn't care, and he really stood for what he believed in, and even up until his last years, he was still golden as a man, and like I respect him as because he was able to mix comedy with a philosophical view that was in a way that was very good. Another I'd say is Albert Camus, the philosopher. Like he was able to accept mortality for what it was. Like instead of like, there's a lot of like people who like they try to find out whether there's a god or not. Well, his opinion was that there was no god, and like he was, instead of letting that kill to destroy him, he still enjoyed life. He was one of the very few philosophers who was actually happy. Like if you read into it, a lot of philosophers were depressed or weren't able to accept the life that they were living. But George Carlin, Albert Camus was a really happy person even up to his death. He was just enjoying life, and he had a like people might disagree with it, disagree with him, but at the end of the day, he was a happy person.
And how'd you stumble across this? Did somebody tell you about Albert? Did somebody tell you about George? Because I rock with George Carlin heavy.
Um,
Where did this come from?
well, as I said, I was a very wide, diversified person growing up. I like as I said, like I was once like I think I said it to you before we started the live stream that um I was into like I was kind of the person who was a loner, but I also got to experience being popular at the same time. I kind of wasn't popular in school, but then in like later on in my teenage years, I became kind of popular amongst my friends group, and I kind of got to experience being that, and I hung around with the people that that weren't popular at the time, like emos and skinheads and punks. So I got to fit in with the underground and with the popular scene. So I kind of like got to see everything, and it's especially with like in music terms, that exposed me to way more music because I was listening to everything the popular people were listening to and everything the underground was listening to. And then, as I said, with my education, I was pushing myself, and since I was so curious about the world, it was it was gonna happen that I was gonna find philosophy. And then once I found philosophy, I just kept digging and digging until I found someone who I agreed with.
Okay. So what's your thoughts on religion? What's your thoughts on God? Maybe even afterlife. Get into that since you talk about your spirituality, dealing with X and things like that, and some of the things, your philosophies that you're into. Talk that's a little bit about your thoughts on religion and maybe the afterlife.
Well, my most important thing is that I respect like everyone's beliefs. If it doesn't matter to what you believe in, if you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, it doesn't matter to me as long as like I think what's the most important thing about religion is what it motivates you to do. If you are like a Christian or a different religion, and you're not accepting of other people's beliefs, and you are not able to communicate and work with people, I think that's a problem. I think if you're able to work with people and connect with people, and make the world a better place for all kinds of people, that's what matters. So for me, like, I accept everyone's religion. I just hope that their religion motivates them to be a good person to everybody. Like, if you're a Christian, you treat a Muslim with respect. If you're a Buddhist, you treat a Christian with respect. That's what matters to me. So like, in terms of that, like, I accept everyone's religion. I just want people to be good people, and I hope it motivates them to do the good thing. Like, an example is like, I always hear like people say God bless you, and even though I particularly don't hold a religion myself, I love it. It makes me happy because they're wishing blessings on me, and that's all that matters. They're wishing a blessing on me. That's all that matters. So what I in terms of like religion, as I said, I don't hold a belief in a religion because, as I said, I never wanted to be confused in life. I never wanted to be unsure of things. And I've come to the conclusion, in my personal belief, like, I know there's people who will disagree because they have their beliefs, and that's okay. Um, I feel like we just don't know. Like, we don't know if there is, and there isn't. As far as I'm concerned, there might be a heaven, and it might be a Christian heaven. It might be a Muslim heaven. It might be a Buddhist heaven. So I can just sit there and, like, it makes me happy to know that there could be anything. There might be anything, and there might be nothing. But until then, we're just sitting here. At, all of us are sitting on this earth together, just not knowing. And it's okay if you believe in something. That's okay. Like, but like, we're here and we all have to live with each other. So let's treat each other with respect until when we all pass, we'll all get our answers eventually. And that's what matters to me.
Shouts out to Have Control. I'm gonna salute you on that one. I respect that. I salute you on that one. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I rock with you there. I mean, the last year and a half's been hectic for a lot of people. Is
Yeah.
Ireland on lockdown? And do you have any takes on what's going on over there? Maybe from a worldview or from a government perspective. Let us know what's going on as far as the jab, and what's your take on some of the issues that's going on over there?
What I feel about it is like, once you start talking about it, it eventually does lead into the theories about whether it's real or not, and that then leads into conspiracy theories, which is a difficult topic. Like, see, well, how it's affected Ireland is, you know, it like everywhere. Initially, nobody knew what to do, but what's kind of funny is that I actually read about it before it got to Ireland, and I felt like this could get to Ireland, so I bought face masks before anyone else did. And when it got to Ireland, the first case was in Ireland, and everybody was panicking in the shops. I was already there, dressed like this, like, and everyone was like, "This fella must know what's going on," like, and so I was like already ready for it, but like, and how it's affected Ireland is like, we're slowly, like, we're behind it, like, compared to other countries. Like, we've been on lockdown for a lot longer than everybody else has. So that's kind of like, we're it's stressful, it is, and we can't wait to get over it. And there's a lot of people taking the vaccine. I took the vaccine. I have just the first dose. I'm waiting to get the second one. But yeah, that's where it is with Ireland. We're not really out of the water yet, and there's everything's basically closed. We've only started opening up shops again now.
Okay, so how would you tell somebody to deal with the situation? Because, like I said, you get fatigued, you get tired, you just don't want to do it anymore. How could you encourage somebody in dealing with the situation?
Access to activities. Obviously certain activities aren't open, like, going to a live concert, but if you like if you can think like of 3 or 4 things that you enjoy doing, give yourself the time to do those things every day. Like video games for a little while, a book for a little while, um just resting for a little while, eating right, cook a nice dinner. You have the time to now. um and the best thing is that if you can't get exercise, if you can do some sort of calisthenic exercises that don't require work equipment, or run outside. Like started skateboarding during the pandemic. I did, like, and I realized how this is like the perfect sport to do during the pandemic, because there's nobody around like to like prevent you from skating, like because there's certain places that you can't skate, like like security will stop you. But like during the pandemic, there's no one around, like you can just skate everywhere you want. It's like the perfect hobby, like during this time.
And where do you see the world 5 years from now? How does it look? How does Ireland look? How does the world look to you in 5 years from now?
I feel like they're gonna basically put like a preparation, for an event like this again happening. Like I'm sure they'll make a facility where they have sanitation equipment like basically loaded on trucks. So if there was ever a case of a new virus, they would be already out the door like that, instantly on the trucks. Like we're gonna nip this one in the bud before it turns into a COVID again. That's one thing. I see that financially, we're probably going to go into a type of economic recession. Like that's not just Ireland. I'd say that's globally as well.
Do you think that's intentional? Do you think that crash is going to come intentional? Do you think this is a forced crash? Do you think governments are running their countries into the ground right now?
I I think there's a lot of people, like if you like what I learned with investing in stocks, there is ways that people manipulate the market, especially the higher ups, and they have the most access to manipulating the market in the way they can. Like an example was when the everyday folk, just normal people, started making a load of money through GameStop, and all these hedge funds started losing a lot of money. They basically changed how the market works to stop us making as much money as we could. So it just proved to us that they have the tools to change how the market is, just as long as to work it in their situation. Like, see if they were literally able to change policies so that they to manipulate it into their own way, but we couldn't do that. Only they could, and that just shows how much power they have over the markets. And I'm sure a good percentage of like certain types of crashes, are strategic manipulations of the market.
Yeah, because I learned everything happens in cycles. I mean, 2008, you had the big crash of 2008 with the hedge funds and credit default swaps, and you had the savings and loans scandal back in the 80s. So these things happen in cycles. Do you think there's going to be we're talking about a crash, but you got into Bitcoin, you got into cryptocurrency. What led you into that? How'd you get into that? And what do you see the future of that is?
Well, as I said, like growing up homeless and living in poverty pushed me to find a way to get wealthy. And I just wanted to know, how did the rich get rich? What is it like? And I realized that there's two factors to it, like two important factors. And like Rich Dad Poor Dad was the first thing that got me into investing. Like, just explained to me, like, it basically explains how wealth is generated, which is assets put money into your bank account, liabilities take money out of your bank account. If you have to put €20 a month into your phone for credit, sorry, I'm probably using Irish words to explain this, like euros, but I'm like, you could say dollars. um so you could put $20 in phone credit into your phone a month, and that means it's taking money out of your bank account. That's a liability. Assets put money into your bank account. If you owned a car that you rented to someone, like €40, $40 a month, that puts money into your bank account. The wealthy have more assets than they do liabilities. So every time money is taken out, there's always more money coming in. That's what I learned about investing, and it's like, that's just the tip of the iceberg, and then there's a lot more into it. But Rich Dad Poor Dad put me on the starting track, and then no one told me this, but I've come up with my own theory about wealth generation, and it's kind of like a problem I see, and I really want it to change. If you want me to explain it,
Go ahead.
like I always pick this example because like it's probably one of the most well documented like things of like racism in America. Like this is a great way of I feel of explaining it. When when slaves were like technically set free, like in the quote unquote the way they were, like that didn't mean they were really free in the sense of there was a lot of backfire. There was gentrification. There was, they grew up in these areas where resources weren't as accessible as in like wealthier like states, like, or wealthier areas. So I noticed that like when like if you think about when slaves were set free, they had nothing, and then they were put into areas where they had nothing, and they had to build what they had and what they knew. And unfortunately, the people who didn't want them to have the good things they were manipulated them into giving them only, like if you think like Boys in the Hood, like when he says like there's a liquor store in every corner, there's a gun shop, they want you to destroy yourselves. So that it's like in a way they put like a new type of slavery there where the chains weren't on literally, they're on in a new way. And I see it as is that not only is it just about knowing how wealth is generated, it's about time and how long you have. Like these people had the time to build up their assets. They did. While there was people, the people who didn't have that were, suffering. And now that they're technically free, oh, you're free, but we've been doing this for like 20, 30 years, building up our communities, our education, our wealth knowledge, and we're passing that on to our children. So when our children go to college, they already have the money to pay for their college and tuition, but yous don't have that, and yous might not even know about it. And that's what really gets to me about it. And like I really want that to change.
But how do you think that changes? Because you're talking about mental slavery, you're talking about the condition in America now, and America doesn't want to face that. They don't think that they need to reconcile that whole issue right there that you're talking about. How do you think, even like you take like the baby now, when he got basically canceled for comments he made about the LGBTQ community, but in rap music and hip hop music, you can kill a black person 100 times. You can call black people or people of color hoes and bitches, and nobody's making a fight, and nobody cancels these artists. So to me, because we went here, to me, the mind is shackled in slavery, and the minds have to wake up. But like you said, they're not really free, but they don't realize this. But how would you deal with something like that?
um I kind of like I see it the way X kind of seen it. He managed to get the attention on himself, and once he had the attention, he slowly did it. He slowly tried to bring these words out. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there was an Instagram story X put on that he specifically said, I can't talk too much about what I want to tell you. It's like he says, believe me, I want you to know what I want to tell you. But he said I can't say it. And in text on the side of it, he says, if I talk about this is how people get killed. And like I don't know how much of an effect. Like maybe like I kind of want to trust X's word, like, and believe there is something shady going on, and like, that there's, because but then that kind of gets into conspiracies. But like I kind of trust X's word. Like I feel like I have a bond with him, and like I kind of think maybe there is something darker going on that you can't speak about, real stuff, and maybe that's why he was so kind of like because the things that I could tell people about X, um, like they're not gonna know, and I wonder, is it because X didn't want to say it because his life was at risk, or was he doing it slowly because he didn't want to overwhelm people with the information or turn people away because they're not ready for it?
But don't you bear some responsibility? Because when you know better and you have the knowledge, you should become a conduit, or you should be, you have to dispense it. And I'm not saying you have to give it to everybody at once, but you do hold the responsibility for what you do know.
I feel like, I mean, like if you have knowledge, you should pass it on, like as much as you can, because you don't know, like what the piece of information to you might be nothing, but it could change someone's life forever. And obviously, the more quality information we have, the more truth we have, we pass that on. It's like collectively, we grow as people, and maybe we'll become more unified, and at peace with each other, and figure out how things like focus on the real important stuff in life. Maybe if we stop fighting about all the stupid stuff that we're fighting about, maybe we could actually, harmonize.
Facts, facts. And and talking about some of the stuff you're talking about, and being passionate, because like I said, when I really grasped the message from X, people be like, that you like this guy? I said I love him because of universal knowledge and universal laws and things like that. But when you listen to the message, and for me, it's never too late to change. It's never too late to change. I mean, I saw a radical change, I should say, in him from the first day I listened to him. And I listened to him the day after, pretty much the week before he got killed. I started listening to him. And then the following week, he got killed. And he transitioned. And and I started like diving into him. And I saw the evolution. And to me, it's a tragedy for people not to see the change that he made so fast, the radical change, the drastic change that he made so fast. How do you think that happens, and why did you think that happened?
Like some cynical people might see it as, oh, his record label told him, if you want to get radio play, if you want to have better opportunities with bigger artists, you're going to have to change the image. And like, you could probably take it as, oh, that's the only reason why he did it. But if you know who he really was and you really listen to him, you can see that he didn't do that. Like, he didn't do this because he was just trying to manipulate people. He actually wanted to say these things. When someone's speaking from their heart. Some people, it's just you just can't see it. But when he was speaking from his heart. There's not a lot of people that have that strong effect in the world, and I see him as a person who really had it, and I feel like that's why I believe he was honest about everything he was doing. I feel like what made him, like, how it came about was that he was tired. He was tired of living that way, and he needed to change.
Cool. And you talk a little bit about your Reddit post. You were talking about Gakub, and clearly you're passionate about this young man. Well, and the impact that he's had on your life. Talk a little bit about the impact he's had on your life, and how you even got on that journey, and understanding or trying to understand what he was about.
I'd say this would be the best way to explain it. When I said I was in a foster home, and to be honest, I never connected with the people in my foster home like on a deep level, and I didn't feel like I got that guidance I needed. And I also lost my family, so I was all alone trying to figure out everything I know now. I know because I made myself know it, and basically I didn't know how to deal with things and my emotions, and I felt so alone. So when I heard X and he said the same things that I was feeling, I realized he was important. And something like, I realized he was really, really important, and I knew that everything he said had to be saved. I documented basically everything from when I found him to now. I documented everything I could. I screenshot every post he did. I recorded every live. I Anytime, a random comment by someone, just, a close friend of his says something about him, I screenshot it and saved it. I have like one of the deepest archives of X's life on YouTube. It's a YouTube channel called Jesse Unfry. And if you check that, there's like 30, 40 of his like Instagram lives, posts, anything you can think, his interviews, like clips, audios, music. I knew that he was important, and I knew it was worth documenting his life. And I I felt like, as I said, like I felt like I was alone, and his message resonated with me because I was the exact person he was trying to help. And I really needed it. And he fulfilled an emotional need that I had, that there was no one else there providing for me. And I felt indebted to him, because the person he was trying to save out there was a person like me, and a person like everybody else who connected on with him in that way.
Loyalty. He was big on loyalty. Talk to me a little bit about loyalty. Some of the things he would say, some of the wisdom, because I want to do something where uh, compile some information dealing with the wisdom of XXX Natasha. I think he left a lot of wisdom. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So I'll talk about two aspects of it. I'll talk about everything he said and everything he didn't get to say. Firstly, like if you look through his Instagram lives, he was always dropping gems of knowledge. He would talk about energy, like, even in the sad music video, he talks about, you know, and a transmutation of negative energy, bringing it into positive energy. And he always, like, there was like times where he would show his like crystals, his like amethyst crystal, and his like, he would talk about his chakras like on his Twitter and stuff. He talked about a lot of spiritual knowledge, and he would always try to guide people. Like if you look at his like live performances, after every single live performance, before he would leave the stage, he would tell people to follow their dreams and follow what they were wanted in life. And I realized, like, it's so important. Everything he said, there was so many gems in everything he had said. And when he died, I felt like it was the death of, when his message was just, that was over with. Nobody else was going, here, this is what X wanted to say. He was trying to say this. He was trying to say that. This is what he was going towards. And it bothered me so much, to the point where I decided to create the Reddit Achieve Gekium, because X said that Gekium meant the next day, or universe of thought. And it if that's what you were to get to, achieving Gekium is all about that. And from there, I dug deeper than anybody had ever done before. The way that, if you go on YouTube and you search up X and alchemy, every single thing about X and alchemy that people talk about is because of me. I was the first one in the world to know that he studied alchemy, because I asked John before anybody else. I said, "What did X read?" And he says, I think he studied alchemy, but I'm not 100% sure." I watched one of his vlogs, and I noticed in the background that there was a book, and it was hard to tell what the book was. But I went on Google image search, and I reversed image search spiritual books, and I searched through about 600 pages until I found a book that looked exactly like the book on the shelf. And through that, I was able to find out that he was studying a book called Complete Idiot's Guide to Alchemy. And that's when everything clicked. I noticed that he said, like, in alchemy, there's concepts like transmutation, which is about transmuting negative energy to positive energy. And I realized he was quoting that in the sad music video. And he basically, if you read it, there's a lot of philosophical worldviews in that book that clearly shows that that's what he where he got it from. And I know, like, and that was around the time when he released Sad, and when he released the album, and you can hear those concepts that are in those books. And so basically, anything about alchemy that people know about X is because of me. And I know that other people had talked about the master key before, but there wasn't much people documenting everything, about it. And there was a lot of people who had never experienced spiritual stuff, and they didn't know what X actually believed in. So I said, here's everything X believed in. I documented it all for them. And I have this gigantic archive for anyone to find out about what he was saying, and what he was reading, and what he was possibly working towards.
And where could they find that?
If you search up a channel called Jase Onfroy, I believe it actually comes up as the #1 channel. If you search filter by channel, if you want, I'll send you the link and you can put it in the description.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
that's where you can find everything about, X, like archived history of him by me. And then the other one is that have Achieve Gekium. Achieve Gekium, that subreddit is also made by me. And that's another place you can find information like spiritual stuff about X that I've documented all by myself. And then also I do talk about it on my pages, like I have control.
Why do you think it's imperative to document this archive, this man's journey or his path? Why do you think it's so important? Because I agree with you. I think it's very important, but share with us why you feel that way.
Because he didn't get to do it himself. He died, and I know he wasn't finished saying what you wanted to say. Like, in my opinion, it's like if someone was like, they were about to say the most important thing they ever were gonna say, and then they died, and they wanted it out there. Someone has to go and do it to get it out there for them. Like, I'm obviously, like, I always say that, like, there's a chance I might be wrong. I don't ever say this is 100% facts, this is what he believed in, unless I'm 100% sure. Like, when, with the golden beetle, I told people that, this is a very hard topic to explain, because we don't know exactly. He never confirmed which book he read, but I gave everyone the theories, that all the research I done into every book, and I said that what I believe it is. And, like, at the end of the day, we don't know. I don't want to ever say he believed in this without being 100% certain. But but anything I have said is true. Like, it's honest, true. And because he died and he never got to say what he wanted to say, I just like, I felt like I owed it to him. You know, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't. I've learned how to have stability in my life, and for him, I would literally do anything for him. I would keep his message alive no matter what.
So when people say the golden beetle, I get people all the time asking me about the golden beetle. What do you think the golden beetle is?
Do you want me to explain it from, like, where it came from, or what I think it is?
What just what you think it is, based on your research?
I believe it's a story from a book by Carl Jung. Carl Jung was basically saying that, like, there was this woman, like, and she was at our therapist office, and she started talking about this dream about a golden beetle. And then the therapist went to the window and seen a golden beetle and said, "There's your golden beetle." And it's like, it's about synchronicity. And I believe that it's like about, the world kind of syncs up on a certain level to things. Kind of things don't just happen randomly. things happen for like a certain motion. And I feel like if you can align yourself with the right thought, you align yourself with a certain worldview, it will become your world. And you basically, things will connect with you in that way. Kind of everything happens for, kind of an emotion. If something's happening here and something happens across the world, they're somehow connected. It's like everything happens like a part of a plan. And I feel like out of every theory that I've read, that I've found or discovered, I feel like that's the closest connection. Like there is other theories, but they're kind of very loose. Like I feel like they don't connect up as well.
Synchronicities. You're talking about synchronicities. What's your take on synchronicities, and have you had synchronicities, or do they can you relate to it, or because the golden beetle, it seems like you're talking about synchronicity. So what can you tell us about that?
I'll just give an example. I just want to get the numbers right in my head, so I'm just going to check my phone.
Mhm.
Okay, just 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, so where is this? Sorry, where's it? On the 5th of August, I said I was gonna have 1 million views on TikTok. Well, not on TikTok. I just said I'm gonna have 1 million views on something. I just said I'm gonna have 1 million views on something. 5 days on the 5th of August, and a couple of days after that, I hit 1 million views on a video on TikTok I did. So 1 second, let me check what date it was. So a week ago, I said I'd have 1 million views on TikTok, and like 2 days later, I did. And now, I said I'm gonna hit 10,000 followers on TikTok, and I did. Like literally the same day. I feel like I was able to manifest those things because I actually believed them to happen. I feel like I actually synced up what I believed in the world was gonna happen, and it just worked out that way. Like I felt like I did, like it was, this stuff was happening because I was aligning my thoughts with it, and I visualized it happening, and I kept sitting there, and I was like, "This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen," and it was happening because I believed in it.
So that's what having control is all about. Discipline, having control over your mind, visualizing, and doing the things that you should do. How do you
Yeah.
do that? And manifesting, because we're talking synchronicity, golden beetle. You're the Reddit guy. You're the archivist. You're the guy. You've got the library on X. You've got the playbook. Basically, you're telling me you're the guy with the playbook, and you're manifesting. Take us through. Can you take us through one of your techniques?
I'm gonna do it I'm gonna do it for everybody. There's people probably watching this who are, they're not religious. They could be atheist, they could be spiritual, and they could be like believe in like God. So they might not say they're spiritual, but they might believe in a Christian God or a Muslim God. So I'm gonna give an answer for all three, and the first one is the one I kind of use, and the second one I take it as a rational way. As I said, if you surround yourself with the right people, if you go, hey, my friend, he always eats healthy, he always exercises, he's always going out making something of himself. If I surround myself with him and his friends who are also succeeding in life, and I learn that, I will be a part of that. But if you surround yourself with the people who are, you know, like doing drugs, and then you're taking drugs, and then you're around people who are getting into trouble and getting into fights, then you are going to be a part of that. That is going to be who you'll become. So if you take it rationally, that just makes sense. That's not spiritual. That's just rational. So I think about it in a rational way that way, but then I also think of it as a spiritual way. If if you think about this, if on an energy,
Don't know what happened to your audio. I lost your audio for a second. Hold on. Ah, 1 second. I don't know how I lost you. Oh my goodness. That was getting good. It was getting good, people. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get the audio back. Talk to me. Talk to me. Let me see. I can't. I lost your audio. I lost your audio. Hold on. Screw this. Oh man, I'm getting into this right now. All right, you there? You talking, but I can't hear you. Ah man, hold on. Hold on, okay. Hold on. Oh, man. I don't know what happened to the audio. Can't hear you. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me just do this. Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna add him back. I'm gonna have him check his mic and say, all right. Can you check your microphone for me?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I
Is it
got
working?
you. There you go. So we would go back into that for me for a second so we can elaborate on that. You said that we were talking about the rational part, and then you were going and you saying it wasn't spiritual.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
talk to us a little bit about what's spiritual as far as that was.
So if you take it from like three ways, like there might be like three types of people: people who aren't religious, people who are spiritual, and then there might be religious people on this. And the ways you can approach it. If you're not religious, you can look at it rationally. If you surround yourself with good people, smart people, and you like live around that kind of stuff, you'll slowly become that. Like rationally, that just makes sense because you're not going to be around negative energy and not negative people. But and then you could look at it as a spiritual way. If you're in around the negative energy, like the spectrum of negativity and positivity, if you like say, I will surround myself with good energy, you will find the good people and you will surround yourself with that. And then in a way, that's the spiritual way. You are kind of manifesting that and you are bringing yourself to it. So, and that's for those two ways. And then if you take a person who's religious, they might be like, they will say, oh, find God, and they might see God as, being a higher power, and they might say the sense of their community, they will bring themselves to a good community, they will make a good community so that they can all live in a kingdom of God. Or so you could take those three ways. That satisfies all three ways for people. And for me, I just use the first two, and I respect the third.
Wow. So and manifesting, is it more mental? So do you have to like visualize? Do you have to go into the silence? Do you have to find a quiet place? How do you do it? Because you said you wanted 1,000,000 views, you got 1,000,000 views 2 to 5 days later. How did you manifest it?
I would say there's a percentage of luck involved. There's definitely a bit of luck with this. Everyone out there has a talent at something. They have a skill or, something that they're good at. And I feel like the three things that are, you need to succeed in something is the skill, you need the belief, and you need the luck. People usually say, oh, you just need to be lucky or you need to have, the skill. But you need to believe in it too, because if you don't believe it, you're not going to put yourself out there in that way. So for me, I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in who I am, and I believe what saying is important. What I'm saying is good, and it must be good because people are connecting with it. And I assume I got lucky as well. So I'm I would say all three of those things, but I feel like the longer you stick in what you're doing, eventually it will start to pay off, you know. And if it's not paying off, just change it up a little, find a way, always look for new ways to try it in different ways. Like, if you're an artist, it might be not working in what you're doing, but you can just change up your style, or see if there's a way you can work. Like maybe you're collabing with too many people, maybe you're not collabing with enough people, or maybe your reach is too small, and there's all these factors, and it's all about, finding the right balance of each one, and for me, I feel like I'm starting to achieve that now.
I learned the definition of luck is when preparedness meets opportunity.
It's
So
like,
when preparedness meets opportunity, you become lucky.
yeah.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
um well, as I say, like I'm an Irish person, so like I want to work with Irish artists, but my reach, like I've just been documenting American hip hop, and like not just American hip hop, whatever I like, but for a while, the Irish hip hop scene hasn't been there yet. It hasn't kind of grown into its own, and I kind of was never really into it for a long time, but now it's slowly becoming something. It's slowly becoming its own thing, and I'm seeing a lot of artists that are coming up in that are like really, really good, and I want to connect with them. And as now that I have 10,000 followers on TikTok, I feel like I have leverage now to. They're not gonna say no to just, because they, if you have like 10 followers, they're probably gonna like, oh, this is some dope, like, who cares what he's doing. But like now that I have a bit of leverage, I can actually go up to our Irish artists and work with them, and the scene's actually getting a lot better. So I want to connect with these people. So in terms of that, I want to work with Irish artists, but I also want to, just expand my reach as a media company, like documenting like hip hop in general, like overall, like globally, like, and I want to kind of, get exclusive, things. I don't want to just work off like, creating like new content from other stuff. Like I want to create something completely like exclusive, like maybe host other people's music, host my own interviews with other artists and stuff. And just, host interviews with just, interesting people, and just talk to people, connect with everybody, like also expand my reach, just like working with like maybe gamers, skateboarders, you know, punk artists, anything that's cool, really.
Hmm. So you said you're doing this on TikTok. How can the beautiful infinite creators reach out to you, get in touch with you via um, TikTok on your platform, YouTube, your YouTube page? How would they get in touch with you to connect with you? Me, you connect on the gram, or we've talked a couple of times. But how would the beautiful infinite creators connect with you?
Well, I'm literally everywhere. Like, have control is on everything. I'm on Instagram. I'm just gonna list it off now, just so I get it correct. Um, I'm on Reddit, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Discord, Twitch, YouTube. Um, they can add me on Xbox. Um, Xbox. They can add me on PlayStation. I have an account on IMDb, so that if they want to look at the movies I'm watching, they can do that. I have a Genius account where I like, correct, artist lyrics. Like, when the artist like puts out the lyrics, I edit them. I'm on Wikipedia. Um, I can't think of anything else. And also on my YouTube, all the links for everywhere I am is there. So like people can find me basically anywhere. Like, and I reply to anyone when I have a chance to. The only time I don't is when, the post is, too big. Like, I have like nearly 10,000 comments on one video, and I can't, I don't have the capacity to reply to each person.
Mhm.
But I'm literally everywhere, and I want to connect with everybody in every way.
Well, the beautiful infinite creators salute you and all that you do. Especially, I'm a big X supporter. What do you believe his message was?
Well, I believe that he wanted, like, an example was that he wanted, like, people to like, look past, who people are, like not look at people's skin color, just like respect people. He was, you know, he was not like, he was not homophobic. He supported the LGBT community. He like was friends with, people of every race. He just wanted us to all get along. And and then he that was one thing he wanted to get across. And the other was is the, just getting in control of your life, like believing in yourself, following your dreams, and realizing you have the potential to do anything you want. I feel like that's what his message was. And I don't know how far he would have got into the spiritual side of his message, but I feel like if he had the freedom to speak, where, as I said, that he said his life was in danger, one post, if he did say things like that. If it wasn't, I feel like he would have got more into spirituality, and he explained, his spiritual knowledge and what he feels. But we never know what that information would have been.
Cool. I rock heavy with you. I rock heavy with you guys. Have controls in the building. Uh, I could probably talk to you. We're gonna probably have to set it up again. I could probably talk to you. Is there anything that you want to say before we wrap this up? Is there anything that you would want to tell the beautiful infinite creators worldwide? What would you want them to know?
You have control. You're not the sum of everything that happens around you. You can be the control. You can have the control in your life. And I want just people to know that. I just want people to go out there and chase what they want, believe in themselves, you know, put the work in, believe in yourself. And and with a bit of luck, you might achieve those dreams that you're looking for. Um, and that's one thing I want people to know. And the other is, treat everyone with respect. It doesn't matter what religion, what color, what their sexuality is. You know, we have to live here, regardless of what we believe in the world. We all have to live here together. So let's kind of make this world a happy place to live in. And, let's do the right thing in the world. And that's all I think, really.
There you guys have it. Have control is in the building with the beautiful infinite creators all the way from Ireland, chopping it up, talking about, a lot of different things, All right. I want to thank you for stopping by with us, coming on the channel and doing a live. We salute you. We respect the divinity in you. We salute the divinity in you. And to all the beautiful infinite creators, we don't care about the haters, because we're infinite creators. Keep creating, keep evolving, keep creating, keep evolving. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. Check out Have Control. Definitely check out Have Control. Definitely check out Have Control anywhere online, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit, Wikipedia. He's everywhere. Thanks for reaching out to the beautiful infinite creators. We got to get you back here. Maybe we'll set something up for next month. We'll do a little something. Okay.
That's great. Thank you very much.
I rock heavy with you. I rock heavy with
you. You too. I really appreciate you, and it's great to talk about this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. Until the next time, we out. Peace.
See ya.